back to the storyboard, this new segment on the show where we rewrite Scream 7. So the killers, we're going to start right there. That's one of the biggest entertaining things about a Scream franchise is figuring out who the killer is at the end. You know, we've had Billy Loomis and Stu. We had the Bailey family at the end of 6. We had Richie and Amber at 5. We had the great twist reveal of Emma Roberts' character and Charlie. It was just, this franchise is built on the kills and on figuring out who the killer is and having that big reveal at the end of who the 2 killers were. This one was 3 killers, actually, just like Scream 6. So you have Marco, you had Jessica, and then you also had Carl, who was friends with the 2. He ended up being the one ran over like a pancake by Gail's van, but we're going to include him in anyways. But I'm going to rewrite that because I was not a fan of that. I didn't really care for the reasoning behind it where, Jessica grew up idolizing, Sydney and the killings, and it just really screwed up her mind a lot. And she just wanted to become Sydney. She wanted to become famous. So she's going to kill the original Sydney and make her daughter the new Sydney, and she would be the new Billy, or she would be the new Stu, because she was such a fan of Stu and she idolized him. She wanted to make Sydney 2.0, as she calls it, with Tatum. And so it's kind of, rebooting the original Scream in a way. I just wasn't vibing with it. Didn't really care for it. So my idea here is to keep the Jessica character, but have her like a long lost sister to Billy Loomis. Have that Billy connection. And then just commit to Stu being alive for 30 years. Have him come back. He's been alive for 30 years. And not only that, but I would write it as if he has this grand entrance at the end, and he reveals to Sydney that he's been pulling the strings for every character reveal since Scream 2. He was behind every single killer since Scream 2. That means he was behind Mrs. Loomis. He was behind Roman. He was behind Charlie. He was behind Richie and Amber. And then, of course, he was behind the Baileys, because he was the one that was pulling the strings behind him because he wanted revenge from Sydney for smashing his face in with the TV. That's how I would write it. And the way I would write it too, I would add in this cool flashbacks where when he reveals, like, it was me, Sydney, it's been me the whole time, we get the flashbacks of all the killers from Scream 6 back to Scream 2. And a total fan service moment where we get these really cool flashbacks of the killer reveals from all those movies. And it was Stu Macher the entire time pulling the strings since Scream 2. And now he has made this grand entrance and revealed himself after 30 years to be the killer behind all the killers. That's how I would write it.